Welcome to Failing Forward. This show is all about the other side of success. We talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators who aren't afraid to share the mistakes they've made. Because if there's one thing I know for sure, it's this. Every setback is just a setup for something bigger, if you're willing to learn from it. Today, we've got a great guest, someone that I've known for over a decade in this community. If you've seen Jeff, you've seen his wife, you've seen their philanthropic efforts all over this community. You've seen the rise of 898 marketing in this community, and really excited to have fellow Ohio Commodore recently inducted.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Jeff Ryznar on the pod with us today.
Thanks, dude. Good seeing you, Tim. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here. I was looking forward to this. Great way to kick off the week, dude.
That's right. That's right. So, Jeff, we've launched this podcast really to kind of talk about the failures that culminate to form success.
Yep.
And you and I recently have had a bunch of great conversations because we're both part of the CEO forum with the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, and we've had a lot of great conversations about the challenges of growing a business, scaling a business, the things in the current market environment. And so we realize that most people on the outside see that overnight success that took 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And 898 has really gone through an amazing growth story over the years. And that's something that I've watched from the outside, us both building a service-based firm in this community with the same mentality of taking great care of your people, making sure that their careers are cared for, and then expecting the end result to be great client service work.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's it.
And I feel that that's something that even though we're doing something very different in our respective worlds, we've found a lot of alignment over those conversations.
No, absolutely. The recipe's there, right? So it really starts with just wanting to help, wanting to use whatever talents you have or whatever skills you have to make a difference somewhere. And if you do that the right way with the right people, great things end up happening. You can't start out with the end goal in mind, because then you lose track of the beauty, which is the process of what it takes to get there. I was just having a conversation with someone today, and my daughters have famously coined Ironman nights for me. And so as the business grew and as we were growing, when I would put them to bed, I'd have to go downstairs and I would work till like 2 or 3 in the morning. And so they're like, you can't stay up that late. So I would start putting on the movie Iron Man, and that would be my block. And when Iron Man ended and I hear Black Sabbath playing Iron Man at the credits scene, I know it's time to shut it down and go to bed. And so Kira, our youngest, has called it Iron Man nights. Like, Daddy, do you have an Iron Man night tonight? Yeah, I got one. And so those are starting to become fewer and farther between because of the people, because of the people that we have and the processes that we have, that now it's a little bit more efficient and a little bit more healthier balance to what we're doing.
But those are the kinds of things that I want my kids to see.
Oh God, yeah. I want them to know that.
I mean,
oh yeah.
We both share a lot of these similarities about the overlap of fatherhood and owning and running a business in this community. And I want my kids to see the Iron Man nights. I want them to understand that greatness is not achieved by going half anything. Like, you've got to go all gas, no brakes. You've got to work your tail off. You got to put in that extra effort. So I see that with my kids are finally to the age where my 9-year-old sees it, and it's no longer just I'm not home for this, that, or the other reason. He understands why I'm doing it. He understands what it means. He understands the impact in the community. And my hope is that it's starting to build that in him, so that when they're put into one of those challenging conversations, they say, all right, well, I got to put Iron Man on. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, success, I think it was, I'm trying to think. Phil Jackson, I think he said something to the effect of, like, success is only experienced after the performance of a successful act. It doesn't perpetuate. It doesn't go on. Like, your success is after you complete that successful act, and then, okay, now what's next? It's not something that just carries on. And so that for them to see both Mimi and me experiencing and growing and putting in the work even though it's hard, and even though there's some days we might not be as energized and as passionate and motivated as we were another day, but to get up and to do it, knowing that what the end goal is and what the meaning of it all is.
Yep.
And for us, it's them.
Yep.
It's the community. It's the people who we work with. For them, it's being able to go get ice cream at Handel's, or right, or like going on vacation or going somewhere, right? But as long as they realize that the hard work is what it takes to get that, no one is entitled or given anything, and the only way you achieve what you want is by putting in more work than it does than the value of what you're going to get out of it. And you've got to remember that.
Yeah, and I mean, the results of your parenting between you and Mimi is already showing with the girls, right?
I appreciate it, man.
We see that,
it takes a village, man. It takes
girls
a village.
are showing this level of dedication to tennis and showing this dedication to education, all these other things, to be performing at the level that they're performing at is
they're our greatest success, right? Every day. If it's a successful act, it's every day being a father.
Yep.
That's the most successful thing I could ever do.
Yeah.
And so to see where they are educationally, to see where they are emotionally and socially and athletically and extracurricular. They're trying out for the play right now. They got callbacks for High School Musical Junior or whatever it is. So just to see that their hard work is paying off, and they're seeing the correlation, right?
Yeah.
They're now seeing it correlate into their own personal lives,
That's right.
Not just what mom and dad are providing or what we're doing.
Yep.
So it's awesome.
Well, let's take a step back in time here a little bit, because I like to give people the context of our guests, because I know that between you and I, there's not too many people that we don't know in the community of Youngstown. There's not too many people in this community
Youngstown's,
that don't know who Jeff Ryznar is.
It's 2 degrees of separation for everybody,
That's right?
We're all related in Youngstown somehow.
But I realized is that we all have some kind of like tangential connection. We all have, some kind of loose connection to one another, but not everybody knows the whole story.
Yeah.
Right. Not everybody understands the true origin story of the people that we see and we're familiar with within our community. So Jeff, you're one of the few people that you're a Youngstown dude. You're through and through, right?
Yeah.
You're an Ursuline grad.
Yep.
And so let's go back to then. You go to high school at Ursuline.
Yep.
And what are you thinking you want to do with your life when you're in high school?
I wanted to be in marketing. I knew it.
You knew it.
Knew it. I wanted to be in marketing and advertising.
When you're in high school.
When I was in high school.
That's a beautiful thing.
There was no question of what I wanted to do.
Which is, that's got to be such a rare thing, because you talk to, I know that you're involved in a ton of different universities and the schools that your kids go to.
Yeah.
As a percentage, the percentage of kids that know what they want to do with that kind of blind trust at that age has got to be a remarkably small percentage of kids.
I don't know, but I just know from my standpoint, I knew that I was attracted to the idea of creation and of creativity, but that there had to be some sort of rationality behind it. There had to be sort of some reasoning and some understanding of why that's going to work.
Yep.
Not is it going to work, but why it's going to work.
Yep.
And so when I learned my junior year at Ursuline about marketing and business, I'm like, well, wait a minute. This is like the best of both worlds. Like I can make the jingles that I hear on TV and that I remember, and now I could figure out why they work and what I could do to help.
Yep.
And it was just at the time after I graduated, when I went into college, that management information systems and technology and data analytics were starting to just creep up. And that's when I thought, okay, this is the best of both worlds. I loved the analytical side of elements. I loved the data side of things, but I also love the creativity that companies wanted in design and video and promotional elements. So that path was always what I wanted to do. There was no wavering. There was no, well, maybe I want to be in sports medicine. Well, maybe I want to be a lawyer.
Yep.
No, I knew what I wanted to do.
And I got a sneaky suspicion. I mean, I didn't know the Jeff Ryznar in high school, but
I had a lot more hair.
I'm sure you were.
I'm sure my high school picture is out there somewhere. I know it's on my Facebook page.
It's gonna end up somewhere. So the way that I've always viewed you is you're an influential person. You're a natural born leader. You're someone that just has that something that people want to follow. You have that dedication, you have that drive, you have that, whatever aura about you that people want to be around and people want to follow. So I can certainly see the overlap of where marketing fits into that, because marketing is about influencing people.
Oh, it is.
Leadership is about influencing people. Yeah. So, I see that natural born drive in you to lead and influence others in a positive manner. Was that something that came natural to you? Is there somebody that you were growing up around that was influential, that was a leader, that kind of sparked that?
My whole family, really. Yeah. But my grandfather, the name of our company was derived, 898 Marketing was derived from an interaction I had with my grandfather when I was 3 years old. Right? So I'm growing up here, and I had really 4 people I wanted to be like when I grew up, and none of them wore a professional sports uniform or were on a CD cover or were on TV. Like, it was the people I wanted to be like were my father, my 2 grandfathers, and my uncle Rick, who now lives in Columbus. That's who I wanted to be like. And so my grandfather on my mother's side, my grandfather, Grandpa Suhar. So when I was 3, he sat me down and he told me to point to 3 numbers, and I pointed to 898, and he played it in the lotto every single day for me. Every single day. And now I didn't know any of this, right? Yep. I'm 3 years old. And so fast forward to when I become 13, I start cutting his grass on the weekends to make some extra money, and he pays me like $20 or so every weekend to cut his grass. And we would sit on his front porch and just talk for hours. And he lived on the corner of Hartford and Connecticut. His house is still there. And we just watched the cars go by and just talk. Mm-hmm. And so he told me what he did. Now, he was a blue-collar steel worker in downtown Youngstown. Yep. But he loved the stock market, and he loved investments. He loved understanding finances. Mm-hmm. And so every time they would hit, he would invest it. So over the course of 10 years, he has this like little pot of money for me now. Yeah. And he goes, when you turn 16, I'm going to buy you a truck. I'm going to buy you lawn care equipment. You're going to start your own lawn care company. And so after he told me I'm getting my truck, he all of a sudden became like the Peanuts teacher. Like, I didn't understand anything he said. I'm getting a truck. The hell with it. I'm going to be at Urson. I got a truck. I'm set, right? And one of the things that he taught me was that he goes, I'm doing this for you for 3 reasons. He goes, 1, you have to understand that God gave all of us gifts that are special to us. Our faith is at the forefront of everything that I do, everything that our family does, and everything that we do at our organization. So 1, we all have gifts from God. 2, those gifts were given to us to serve others. They are not meant for your own enjoyment, for your own advancement. They're meant to make this world and other people better. Yep. And if you do it well enough, someone will find value in you and invest in that talent that you have, and you can make a living doing what you love for the rest of your life. That's really what it came down to. Yep. That one lesson was the catapult between a dream of owning my own business and a goal. Yep. And so when I turned 16, 4 days before I turned 16, unfortunately, my grandfather died of a heart attack on that porch that he taught me that lesson. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get the truck, and I didn't get the lawn equipment. But again, the dream became a goal. Yep. And whatever I was going to do one day was going to be 898. Didn't know what it was going to be. Yep. But that's what it was going to be. And I actually started another company that wasn't what it was what wasn't my dream. Yeah. But I saved it, and now, going to be 12 years later, we've got 47 people on our team who bought into that philosophy. Yep. I think my aunt, my aunt who's an Ursuline nun, had a lot to do with it. But and it goes back to my faith. Like, all through my life, that has been at the center of everything. Yep. And so when you believe in something, whatever it is, that idea of those principles and those rules that govern that make it very feasible and very easy to choose what kind of life you're going to live and how impactful you could be to other people. For us, it's the Catholic faith, and we stand by it every single day. And so it's nice to see, like, Christianity becoming cool again. Yeah. Like those things starting to creep its way in. But there is a common
thread. We've had quite a few guests on here that I have a personal relationship with too, and understand the strength of their faith. Yeah. And being an entrepreneur, being in business, especially in the Youngstown region, is not easy.
No. I remember when I started my business, my father-in-law told me, he goes, if you could make it here, you're going to make it in any city in the country.
Yep.
If you could start a business and make it in Youngstown, Ohio, and Northeast Ohio, you could run that business anywhere.
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot of trust in this community. And I say that with all the love in the world for the Youngstown region, knowing that
it is.
We lost the steel mills, and there was always this next thing. Well, this is going to be the savior, and then they're going to do this at Lordstown. They're going to do this at Lordstown. They're going to do this in Lordstown.
But that chip on our shoulder is what makes us so tenacious.
Yes,
and it's what makes us so different. And I've never talked to someone outside of where I've lived, right? Everywhere that I've lived, like, I want to go to Youngstown.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't know where it is, but they meet the people from Youngstown, like, that sounds like a pretty cool place to go.
Right.
That sounds like a pretty cool place I want to see.
Yep.
So, I mean, it really has been a blessing to be in the valley and to be in this area and to be who we are.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So we talk about 898 is the current world that you're living in.
Yeah.
But there's a pretty big gap between Ursuline, I'm gonna go into marketing, to 898.
Yeah.
And you're what I call a boomeranger in the Youngstown community.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You went out to the big
Both
city.
Mimi and me.
Mimi
right?
did too.
Yeah. Mimi grew up in Boardman and Canfield, so I mean we both came back.
So after Ursuline, where'd you go off to college?
So I went to Miami of Ohio.
Okay.
It was tough because I applied to 3 places and I got into all 3.
Mm-hmm.
I got into Notre Dame, I got into Dayton, I got into Miami of Ohio.
Yep.
My dad graduated from Notre Dame.
Okay.
Go to Notre Dame games every year.
Yep.
We're a season ticket holder for Notre Dame right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's the school.
Yep.
But I couldn't justify that spend.
Yeah. Right.
Right. We didn't have a lot growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I could not put my parents through that, nor could I justify that spend.
Right.
Dayton was offering a full scholarship, and I love the faith that it was behind. But my dad was like, "Look, you got into Miami. You want to be in business. You might as well go check out one of the best business schools in the country."
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it, and so I went there and had a great 4 years there, and then afterwards started my professional career up in Detroit.
So stuck through the marketing track through college, never wavered. Didn't go in anything else.
No, I got accepted in the Farmer School of Business as a freshman. The minute I got that, I declared my major, declared my minor, and I was off and running.
And then in Detroit, what were you doing there?
So I got a job with Young and Rubicam, which is now commonly referred to as Y&R Advertising. They're one of, if not the largest ad agency in the world now. Yeah. They were at the time as well. And it's funny, after I graduated, I took like a month off of school and I just golfed every day. And it got to the point where my mom was like, "Yo, like, okay, you got a degree and it wasn't in golf. Like, so we've got to do something here." So I thankfully and luckily got an account coordinator entry level position at Y&R Advertising on their Lincoln Mercury account. Mm-hmm. And I was up in Detroit, didn't know anybody. And when you're in that position at Y&R, they have offices all over the world.
Yeah.
And so after about 18 to 24 months of being in that account coordinator position, they tell you, give me 3 cities where we have offices that you would like your next position to be at. Mm-hmm. And so about 6 months into my journey, they asked me that question. And I was like, well, we're way far away from that. Like, I don't know why we're talking about it, but I don't care where I go. I just don't want to go to New York City.
Anywhere but
New York.
City. Yep.
Anywhere but New York City.
I feel the same on that sentiment.
Like, it was just after 9/11, right? This is about 2003, 2004. Mm-hmm. I was like, anywhere but New York.
Yeah.
And so 3 months after that conversation, so 9 months into my position, my team leader called me into her office, which I love her dearly. She's still a good friend, Tara Weston. She's like, "Okay, we're sending you to New York." I was like, where was I? Like, were you not a part of this conversation?
There was
Where's
only
Julie?
one place.
I went to her team leader. I was like, "Julie, like, what is going on? Why am I going to New York?" She's like, "Because we're going to try something different."
Yep.
And so they tried something different, which is like moving someone up the ladder a little quicker and putting them in a position where they're reporting directly to the account director of the Northeast and managing a bunch of car dealers. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's figure it out.
Which, I think about that today, and I think about, your team, my team. I think about the workforce that we have in the current world that we live in today. And if I were to go to one of my team members and ask them, where do you want to go?
Yeah.
And they said, anywhere but New York City. And then 3 months later, I sent them to New York City. The likelihood that they would stay with my organization is somewhere near zero.
Yeah, they'd be
right?
out.
Yeah.
They'd be out.
And I think that is something that is a generational difference, or a Youngstown, maybe the generation that we kind of grew up in the Youngstown community, where there's a loyalty, there's a sense you want to stick something through, there's a competitive nature that you want to see it all the way through.
Well, yeah, you want to see what you're made of, right?
Yeah.
Like the only winning doesn't teach you anything. Failures teach you stuff. Like we talk all the time at our team. I would much rather have a team member fail on the largest stage and the hardest thing they could possibly do than go along and getting these small wins where they're not challenged and they're not growing.
Yep.
Like, growth is uncomfortable, period.
Yep.
And if you are not uncomfortable, you're A, not learning, and you're B, not growing.
Yep.
I mean, if you think about every aspect of your life, when your teeth hurt and you're getting molars in, you're growing.
It's growth.
Body aches, growing. Sports, growing. Education, growing. All of those tough positions of being uncomfortable are representative of growth that exists for you.
That's right.
And so, as you fail forward, right? I love the title of the pod, right? Failing forward, for two reasons. One, because every failure is a step forward.
Yep.
But I also love it from the fact that if you fail, the first visual of someone failing is dropping to your knees, and that's what you have to do.
That's
your
right.
faith is what picks you back up.
Yep.
And so that idea of failing forward really is the only way that you grow. It really is. I don't believe that our daughters who play tennis, I would much rather have a tough match that they lose than go in 6-0, 6-0 and just coasting.
They didn't grow.
They're not going to get any better. They're not going to get any better by that. That's why we call it winning and learning. We have no loses. Their records are W's and L's, wins and learns.
Yep. I love it.
So yeah.
And there was another phrase in your household was, I can't means.
Oh yeah. I can't means no one showed me. I don't know means I haven't learned it. And I quit means I haven't tried hard enough.
I love it. I love
Those
it.
are three things we will not accept.
Yep.
We will not accept I can't.
I stole that already.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about that in our CEO forum, and my son just this past weekend was sitting at the table and he's working on something for school, and I hear him, I can't. And I came into the room and I sat down with him. I said, we're not going to say I can't. It just means that no one showed you yet.
Yeah,
and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to show you. You know, and it was just one of those moments where, I find so many similarities between running a business and being a father every day.
Oh yeah, every day.
And that was one that really resonated.
I love trying stuff
me.
out on my kids too. See how it's going to work and see if it'll play out in the office. Yeah. But no, Kira's learned that because she was like, I can't do this. I can't do the math is probably the one that she comes by the most. And so now it's, Dad or Mom, would you mind showing me? Mm-hmm. Dad or Mom, would you mind teaching me this?
Yep.
And so all of a sudden, it's amazing when negative words are not in someone's vocabulary.
Right.
The attitude adjustment and the capability of what they're able to deliver.
Yep. And then figuring out how to protect that against the influence of others around them. Right? Is because not everybody that she interacts with or goes to school with or plays tennis with is going to have that same attitude.
Not at all.
So encouraging your children to come home and be comfortable with those principles and those things, even though they're not going to see it amongst their friends. Because, I mean, Jeff, that mentality is likely the minority.
Yeah, I would agree. And there's so many influences even when they're at the house. I mean, they're not on they don't have social media and they're not on phones or devices, but there are influences even if they're watching Netflix or or someone sends them something via email, right? It's hard because for the majority of our children's days, they are in the care of someone else at school. Mm-hmm. For the majority of our professional days, our team members are with us.
Yep.
So I've always looked at, I don't want to say that I've looked at team members as my kids, but I look at them as if if that were Marin or Kira in this position, how would I want to treat them?
Yep.
And what do I want them to take to go home to their kids or their family and have that be an influence? And so it's a real tangible thought that goes into how we treat people and how we operate.
Yeah.
It's a lot of probably why we get away with a little bit, like time off and flexibility and things like that, because
people want to protect it.
That's it.
When it comes time to taking the time away, that's one thing. But when it comes time to putting in the work, working the weekend, working the extra hours, you want to put that work in, protect that. It's not, I don't love using the term that, the people that I work with are my family, because they're not.
They're not.
They're not my family. But at the end of the day, you have a responsibility to those people to teach them, to guide them, to coach them, to listen to them, to learn from them. I mean, that's...
Yeah, we don't use family anymore at 898 Marketing, and we stopped that I think 2 or 3 years ago, and I said we're a team.
That's right.
And everybody has a role on the team.
That's right.
And it's really simple. Every single day, including me, we show up, and our job is to prove to everybody that we are the best person for that position.
Yep.
And the team leaders are there to see if there's someone else better.
Yep.
And you got to earn it every single day. My time at the Cavs was very helpful in understanding the value of a team environment and achieving and being and performing at a high level consistently.
Right.
You don't have to be the best every day. You just need the best version of you that day.
Yep.
Because there are so many other influences that happen during the days that you didn't have the previous day, or that you're not going to have a week from now.
Right.
So as long as you can prepare and play and act in the best way possible for that day, given the variables, you've achieved something.
Right.
That's all you got to do.
Yep. Consistently.
Yeah, consistently.
Yep.
And some days are going to be easier, some days are going to be harder.
Yep.
But we try to deal with hard better.
Yeah. So, New York.
Yeah.
You go to New York.
Yeah, I loved it.
You don't want to go to New York.
No,
you
when I got there, I didn't want to leave.
It's like 2 weeks, bang, let's go. You're at Cat's Deli eating some corned beef.
Oh,
you're
no, I was at
getting your
McSorley's.
bagels,
I was living in Alphabet City, and I was blocks away from McSorley's, which is the oldest bar in Manhattan, where they only serve light or dark beer.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
Light or dark beer.
Yep.
And then they'll bring around a plate of like crackers and onion and cheese.
Okay.
If you're hungry. I'm serious. And if you go there, it's awesome. And I know I got probably some of my team members who have come visited me even before they were team members are laughing at some of the stories that we won't go into. Those are the off-limit ones.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the off-limit ones.
But you loved it, ultimately, at the end of the day.
Oh, I loved it,
You didn't think you'd want to do it. You went all in on it, and you loved it. So how many years were you there?
I was there for almost 3 years.
Okay.
And then I was recruited away by the agency that represented General Motors. And I managed the Buick, Pontiac, and GMC dealers in the entire Midwest. And so I moved from New York out to Chicago.
So you were working on car dealership work in New York.
In New York, yeah, Lincoln Mercury dealers.
Got recognized for those efforts, pulled you to Chicago. Yep. How long were you in Chicago?
Just over 2 years.
2 years there.
And I love Chicago. It was a great city.
Great time. So where in this timeline, in this story, do you meet Mimi?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay,
Not yet.
So we're in Chicago.
And
how long are you in Chicago?
Just over 2 years. And my one of the things that we negotiated and did was when text messaging just started.
Okay.
Right. This is crazy.
Talk about dating yourself.
Talking about dating myself, right? And so we did one of the first ever mobile text promotions in the NBA with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I was the representative for General Motors who did it with the Cavs.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is where the Cavs overlap comes in.
And the promotion blew up.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first, and then that's where like the Sprite text to slam dunk came into play at the All-Star game. Like it opened up the NBA's eyes of what mobile could do.
Yep.
And so the rep there, Steve Myers, who's still there, he said, "Hey, there's this position we have that you would be perfect for. You need to give me your resume, and I'm going to drop it in." And I'm like, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. Mm-hmm. And so that was the year. It was 2007. That was the year when the Cavs went to the finals against the Spurs.
Yep.
2006. When the Cavs, no, it was 7, yeah. at the end of the 6-7 year. And so we had to do it. That's a shout out for you, Marin and Kira. And so I make it to like the final 2 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy cow, this is crazy.
This
like,
might be a real thing.
This might be a real thing.
Yep.
And then we have our interviews. We go through the pitch deck. We had to do a pitch deck of how we would take the Cavs into the next 3, 5, and 7 years of what our plan would be, because the role was the director of strategic marketing. And it was the first team to implement this position.
Oh, wow.
And not only would that team use that position, but we would work with Teambo, which is team business operations for the NBA, for them to roll it out to every other team.
That's cool.
And so we don't hear anything. We don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. Didn't even think anything of it. And all of a sudden I get a random email, and it was from Tracy Merrick, the chief marketing officer. And she's like, hey, you still interested? And I'm like, holy cow, yeah. And so the easiest negotiation ever. And that was it. And then I was literally driving my car to Cleveland.
Wow.
Yeah.
From Chicago.
From Chicago.
So then you were living in Cleveland.
I was living in Cleveland.
This trip.
Yeah. And so that was 2007, and then in 2008, that's when Mimi and I met.
Okay.
Over the summer.
So what's the meet cute story between Jeff and
man, Mimi? Are you beeping me out? Okay. All right. So our daughters don't know this story yet, so they can't watch the podcast.
Okay.
Right? It's clean. It's just funny. It's a Youngstown story, right? Like only 2 people from Youngstown would this happen to. Mm-hmm. And I'll try to do the Cliff Notes version. So Mimi is a physician with the Cleveland Clinic.
Okay.
And so at the time she was a physician at the Cleveland Clinic, just moved from Youngstown to Cleveland, and it happened to be August 9th, 2008. 898.
Oh my God.
Has no influence on the name of the company.
Right.
Yeah. Right? Company doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 numbers I told my grandfather to play.
I got chills
right?
from that.
And so Brett Favre has just signed with the New York Jets, and he's coming on a private plane to Cleveland because the Jets are playing Cleveland on Thursday Night Football preseason. And so 2 of my buddies, Scott Brewster and David Anthony, and I were like, we're going to go to the game.
Yep.
Awesome. So we go to what was then called Water Street Grill on West 9th Street, and we're sitting at the bar having a beer, and Mimi comes down to get takeout food. Mm-hmm. And so Mimi is 5 feet tall on a good day. Love you, babe. And so she has to go over to like the server's area to get recognized to get a drink because it's so crowded. And so I happen to be sitting there, and she hears us talking about Youngstown. So politely she chimes in. She goes, "Are you all from Youngstown?" I said, "Yes." Start exchanging words and where are you from? Who do you know? Et cetera, et cetera. And she finally gets this bottle of Stella dropped in front of her. And she said, "May I ask you a question?" And I was like, she wanted to buy me a drink. Am I going to get her number? And she takes a big swig of her Stella and looks at me and she goes, "What kind of an asshole wears a Steelers hat to a Browns game?"
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Well,
that's
done,
how I met my wife.
Yes.
That's how you met your mother.
You knew in that moment.
I knew at that moment.
Yeah.
I did. And it was really crazy too, because we exchanged numbers. And I was going golfing with my buddies that weekend. Mm-hmm. And my roommate and one of my close friends, Pat McGuire, and I are in the car, and I tell him about her, and he's like, "Dude, were you going to call her?" I was like, I don't think I can. And he goes, "Well, what are you talking about?" And he goes, "She's a doctor. She's from Youngstown. She's hot. Like, what are you doing?"
She just roasted
you. Yeah, she just roasted you. Water Street Girl. I was like, this is it. Like, I'm done. And I knew it right when I met her that I was going to marry her. I really did.
Yep.
And that was it. And literally, we were married. Oh, let's see. We were married 10 months later.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, no. We were engaged 10 months later. I'm sorry, 10 months later. And then we were engaged in 2010. So 2 years later, we were married.
And you had the universe telling you too.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, it's funny because the real craziness to the story is one of her nurses told her that, "Hey, my sister-in-law wants me to set you up with her nephew who works at the Indians in their marketing department." She got the teams wrong. She was talking about me.
Oh my gosh.
And so Mimi was like, "I don't need to meet anybody. And so then we met, and she put 2 and 2 together, and she went back to her nurse who she worked with in Youngstown, said, "Hey, you'll never believe who I'm dating." And she goes, "Who?" And she said, "His name's Jeff Ryznar." She goes, "That's who I was trying to set you up with."
God.
Yeah. So
So,
don't
the
the
universe
world
was going to make it
look,
happen one way or
look,
the other.
anybody who says that they have a plan, God laughs and says, "Hold my beer."
Right.
Like there is a plan for all of us out
Yep.
there. So, and that's truly how we met, and it has been the most wonderful most wonderful beer I ever enjoyed in my entire life, man.
So, I mean, you guys were the Cleveland power couple at the time.
No, I don't know about that.
I mean, she's coming up in the ranks at Cleveland Clinic. You're working at Cavs.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And she was a really good basketball player here. So she loved basketball,
Yep.
right? Like, she got a chance she would play with us. We would play pickup games at the Q in the morning and then at night. And so at night, if she got off early, she would come and play with us.
Jeez.
And she was a baller, man. Yeah, she was
cool.
badass.
Playing pickup games on the Cleveland Cavaliers court is a pretty darn cool flex.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It's a lot of cool things we got to do, but it pales in the comparison to the relationships and the people and what I've learned there.
Yeah.
To be in that environment, with Dan Gilbert and Len Komorowski and Kerry Buboltz and like Tracy Merrick and all of these individuals, and Mike Ondrako, who's now runs Legends, right? Like, and Mike Toman and Chad S. All these people who are like now running huge billion-dollar organizations, and like we were all in this community with the Cavs together, and just to absorb that thought process. And those strategies, which all stemmed from culture, all stemmed from what Dan Gilbert created as isms, these sayings that you live by. Mm-hmm. And so it's infectious because it helped understand how important culture was during winning and during times where things were a little bit less successful on the court.
Yep.
And when you have those things in place and that mentality, you really... Tom Hanks said his favorite comment is, "This too shall pass."
Oh, it's my favorite.
Right? And that's what it is, right?
Yep.
You have that culture in place so that when this passes, you're going to be okay.
Yep.
When it's good and it passes, you're going to be okay.
That's right.
And so it was awesome. And that was my time at the Cavs. And but the decision that we lived through with LeBron was more of a decision on Mimi's and my part as well personally. That was probably the moment where I learned like nothing will ever come before my family. Right. I will never put anything before my family.
Yeah. So that's one of those moments in my life that is weirdly etched into my brain.
Oh.
Right. Is like, I will never forget where I was at during the decision. I will never forget the emotions that I felt in my mind. It was so weird because like I'm a sports fan. I love the Cavs. I love the Guards, formerly the Tribe. Like, I'm luckily not a Browns fan. I never got sucked into that one, thank goodness. But that moment was like my girlfriend broke up with me, right? And it was like it was the first time I had ever like I had heard people tell stories about their love for sports, and I loved basketball. I love LeBron. I love what he stands for. I love the things that he's done in his community, our community, Northeast Ohio in general. But like the decision was one that will always live in like a visceral part of my brain. It was an interesting moment. I didn't expect that. So that was the honeymoon cut short.
Oh man, yeah.
So this was right around the time. So this is 2010.
2010.
And the decision happens, and you got to get home. You got to do your job.
Yeah, it's interesting when it happened because, right, like Mimi and I are married, and we go to our honeymoon, and we're in a small island in the Caribbean, and it's beautiful, right? And we agreed that we didn't have iPhones back then; they were Blackberries, right?
Yep.
And so
just clicking away.
Liam's laughing. Yeah. And so we agreed that we would not use or check our phones after 9:00. So once 9:00 hits, we're done.
Yep.
And then we'd have an hour between 4 and 5 o'clock to check anything.
Yep.
And then late at night, whenever we got back, if we wanted to look at it. Perfect. Now, Mimi wakes up in the morning and turns on SportsCenter. Like back in that time, she turned on
What a
Sports Center
woman.
every single morning. That's what was on in our house. Like I'm trying to watch like cartoons, or I want to see what's going on Fox, or see what's going on the news. Right? She's like, Sports Center, let's go. And so we were watching this whole thing unfold with Dwayne Wade in Chicago and Bosch in Toronto, and all of a sudden they're going to Miami. And I remember Mimi's like, "You've got to check your phone. Like you've got to check."
Yeah.
I was like, "No, we're good. We're good." And she goes, "No, probably want to look what's going on." And so I did, and it was one of those decisions. Like I knew if I stayed, I would be fine, right? Like no one was telling me I had to go back, but it was like one of those things. Like, well, if you could get back. You should, but we understand, right? I'm not putting it on anybody in the organization that told me to go back. It was my own reaction.
Yep.
But it was my own reaction because Mimi was so supportive of it, right? Like she's the one who said, "Look, we've got to go back. It's okay. Like you don't know if you're going to have a job, right? You don't know what this entails. And it's okay." And to have your partner that you just agreed to spend the rest of your life with to say, "Yeah, this is what you need to do." And to be truly honest with you about that, even though it was impeding her happiness and her enjoyment, and she was going to go back to work, which is like, come on, right? Like I tell people when I tell this story, I spent 30 years trying to find the face of the woman in my dreams that I can never figure out who it was. And then I cut the first time we have time alone together to celebrate our relationship, I cut it short for a job, for a basketball player. And it was that day where I'm like, I will never do that again. I'm not going to make the decision where I'm going to put someone else over my family.
Right.
And so I remember sitting at her sister's house in Boardman, and I had a 6-pack of Great Lakes Christmas ale because it was July, and it was Christmas in July, and I was like, I'm drinking this either because I'm ecstatic or I'm drinking this because I have no idea what's going to happen next. But lo and behold, no one knew what was going to happen next, and but it actually worked out the best for everybody. And that's the beauty behind failing or viewing things as a disappointment, that you see as a disappointment, is that there is always some good that can come out of it. And I told Mimi, for our 1-year anniversary, we're going back. I promise you we're going back. Sure enough, 1-year anniversary, we're back in Anguilla, and we're enjoying it. But that year after LeBron left was probably the most professionally rewarding year that I had at the Cavs. Because we had to do our job.
That's right. Yeah.
We had to figure it out.
Selling themselves.
You know, we had a great fan base who supported us and kept selling out games. But because we had a culture in place and they expected and knew what was going to happen, it was like, okay, we're gonna support you. We're gonna buy in, and it was really, really fun. I know that sounds weird, winning 26 games after you won 70 or 65, right? Like it's a big turn, but there's more, and there's more than just winning. There really is. I mean, you could have the final score and still lose. I mean, you could be ahead in the final when that clock runs out and win the game, but you still lose. And
listen, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, there are 3 ownership groups in Cleveland that control the sport experience in Cleveland. Dan Gilbert has always been one that says, I am going to do what I can to put the best darn product out on the court, out on the field, do all those things. And then you've got, the tribe that sometimes feels like the Major League Baseball movie. You've got the Browns that feels like the football version of the Major League, and there's some evil woman behind the scenes trying to sabotage the poor Cleveland Browns. But then you got this guy, Dan Gilbert, that's just fighting his tail off every day to put a good product out there and not just, soak up and make as much money as possible. So, I mean,
and the organization hasn't changed. Like the people have changed in the organization, but that culture, from Altman to, to all the way down. I mean, it Nick Barlage is now the president. Like all the way down, it hasn't changed.
Yep.
They still embrace and understand how important it is to deliver on the promises of what you have, and that regardless of what happens on the court, like we're gonna figure out a way to win.
Yep.
And when you have that culture, now people want to play there.
That's right.
Now people want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And Cleveland is obviously, Northeast Ohio is not very warm.
That's right.
We're coming up. I can't believe I didn't know how cold it was going to be today. I literally was walking in here in this shirt, and I'm like, I am freezing my ass off today. I was like, I hope it's warm in the studio. But you have that culture of, and I think that's why Donovan Mitchell like stayed on the bench there, and everybody thought that it was because he was leaving and that was his last game.
Yep.
He truly was like, I gave everything, and there's more still, and I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And I want to sit here and take this all in because I'm going to play with this next year. And I think they have a good thing going there. One of my good friends is Jason Hillman, who's the SVP of basketball operations and the assistant GM, and they're just doing it the right way.
Yep.
And
you can feel it. I mean, I'm a season ticket holder. My son's a big basketball fan. We love going up to games. Like you can just feel it's a different, better quality experience.
Yeah.
It's a community. Again, to your point of just creating culture, it just feels different to be a part of that.
It does.
You know? And I go back to like that stretch of time, and like the one supervillain that I like the least in the NBA, oddly enough, is Joakim Noah. Like. He is my least favorite athlete of all time. Only close to Phillip Rivers, but that's a different conversation.
Shots ever. I don't know how the ball oscillates horizontally and goes in. I've never seen it happen.
And he would talk so much smack about Cleveland.
Oh yeah,
like nobody wants to go there, nobody wants to be there. Yeah. Like I hated Joakim when him and Al Horford beat up on Ohio State.
Al Horford, man, he's still in the league.
He's still banging it out there. And Joakim Noah was one that I was just like, man. I hope that Cleveland proves him wrong, and they have. They have continued to prove him wrong, and put a heck of a team together now. So let's fast forward a little bit. So you've done New York City, to some, not necessarily against your will, but against what you thought you wanted.
We were in Detroit. You were in New York,
Chicago, Cleveland, and now we've got the Fizzle experiment.
Yeah,
and so you pack your bags and you end up on the West Coast now.
Well, the office I still did it out of Cleveland.
Okay.
So I was in San Francisco for a week at a time every month.
Okay.
And so
which is a lot.
Oh,
to travel to the West Coast a week, a month.
Yes.
Is not a pleasant experience.
No. And we opened up a Cleveland office because we had 3 of us in Cleveland that actually left the Cavs together to help start this company, Fizzle.
Okay.
So Fizzle was a mobile messaging service and mobile engagement company.
Okay.
And what we turned it into was kind of like the first iteration of AI. Mm-hmm. It was taking disparate, siloed information in sports teams and amalgamating it into a golden ticket of a fan record. Yep. And it would give predictive analytics of Tim Petrey is more likely to buy a Thursday night game in November against a West Coast team if there's a bobblehead. And then also when he's at the game, he's probably going to spend about $12 to $15 on concessions. Mm-hmm. And so this is the ticket package you should offer him.
Yep.
And so we started to create this new way of marketing that was way ahead of its time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
A
decade ahead of its time.
And so we still did mobile, and that was our way in, but then we started to get into this data pool. And I was their VP of marketing, and we really did some amazing things there. And then it's a startup. It gets tough. Mm-hmm. And that's where I realized how challenging startups can be.
Oh yeah.
But
this wasn't just any startup, though. I mean, I want to make sure we give credit where credit's due. I mean, this was on Forbes' most promising companies.
So we got it. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I mean,
but prior to that happening, it was, Mimi's the breadwinner, right?
Yeah.
Like I get a paycheck when it comes in,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's tough when you're starting again.
Yep.
Right. And you're trying to figure it out. I mean, let's see, Marin was born in 2012, and that's when I left and went to Fizzle in 2011. You're 31, 32 years old, and I'm laying in bed, like, what am I doing?
Right.
I don't have a paycheck. Like, Mimi's working her ass off.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a baby crying,
I'm
leaving the Cavs, right? I'm leaving the state once a week to leave her to raise the kid by herself. Like, what is going on?
Yep.
And so it got to the point in 2014 where Fizzle saw it and was like, look, we don't want to lose you, but we've got to change something.
Yeah.
And so that's when Mimi and I talked about, well, why don't you just start your own business? Mm-hmm. And Fizzle actually said, that would work great. We'll put you as a 1099. We'll keep you on board. We'll be your first client, and you start your own thing.
Yep. And
let's see how that goes. And man, there was never look back. I never looked back.
So this was then 898 was then born as a result of that decision.
It was. Yeah. It was. I can't be away, and I can't do this to my family anymore.
Yep.
I mean, as a physician, I have watched my wife sacrifice more of her personal time, more of her mental state, more of her emotional giving to patients that she wants to reserve for family. And I have to pick that up sometimes, right? In a marriage, it's not 50-50. That's the most bullshit advice someone ever gives a married couple. It's 50-50. No, some days it's 100-0.
That's right.
And you've got to pick up the slack.
Yep.
And so what starting 898 Marketing helped me see was that it was about family. It was about the people that mattered to me. Mm-hmm. And so that's what caused me to figure out a way to use the talents that I had to help out people that mattered to me. And that was not only my family, but now our partners as well.
Yep. And it's to some degree like a reinvention of yourself at this point, right? Because you've been working in a larger corporate environment.
Yeah.
Someone is
totally
providing you with your food
from
the
Cavs, right? From the Cavs, from Y&R. I mean, everywhere. It was corporate America. It was safe.
Yep.
It was comfortable. It was all the perks that you expect in a job. Mm-hmm. And now I'm sitting in an office in my father-in-law's office, or sitting in a desk in my father-in-law's office that he just happened to have available. And he's like, here, you can sit here until you figure it out.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
And you got to hunt now.
And now you got to hunt. And
right.
now, and that the process of that was aggravating.
Yeah.
And it was scary.
Yep.
Because every day, I remember going to the lake club and working out and showering there. And I remember thinking to myself, what in the hell am I going to do? Yeah. How am I going to figure this out?
Yep.
I don't even know how to start my own name. I have to file with the state. I have to do taxes. I have to write all that stuff. And it's like, okay, what's your biggest fear? Failure. Anybody ever asks me, my biggest fear is failure. Mm-hmm. That's it. I don't want to fail. But the beauty behind it is if you recognize it as an option, now you can plan.
Yep.
Now you can recognize what failure looks like, what it feels like.
Right.
And if it does happen, what do we do?
Because there's varying degrees of failure.
Yes.
Right. And there is a finality around a certain degree of failure.
Yeah.
And then there's the failure that ultimately culminates into success.
Yes.
Right. So being afraid of failure can sometimes prevent you from doing the things that you need to do and being outside your comfort zone and working towards growing and things like that. But, being in business, so that being your biggest shift, I'm curious about this perspective from you, is you've gone from someone that didn't have to go and hunt to someone that now has to go and hunt. So in those early years, how was that shift for you? You went from, the Cavs were a client and the car dealerships were a client, and now you've got to go close these deals on your own. You got to figure out how to sell yourself, your services, the things that you're doing.
God, yeah.
Talk me through some of those early wins and or losses that you went through in learning how to hunt.
Yeah. So the losses were every day that I didn't do something. Mm-hmm. That was a loss.
Yep.
And so that was the toughest part of staying motivated, is understanding that you're going to hear no more than you're going to hear yes.
Yeah.
And you've got to be okay with that.
And not thinking that is a failure.
That's a failure.
That's just the reality.
Yeah, that's just the reality of the situation.
Right. Yep.
So you can't judge yourself on wins and losses, on wins and learns.
Yep.
And one thing that helped was when I did move back, the calves and Fizzle helped out immensely because that boomerang effect happened.
Yeah.
It was at a time where Youngstown was trying to get younger people back who left.
This was like the end of the Mayor J. Williams era of the 2010 plan and the City of You campaign and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
And so coming back at that time, and Mimi at that time was at Salem Regional Medical Center. Mm-hmm. And so she had a prominent position there. And so that whole thing kind of snowballed, and it was just, okay, I need to network. I need to get back out and just start talking to people. And I went to lunch with people I went to high school with, and even if I wasn't asking them for anything, it was just letting them know that I was there.
Hey, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of those elements was when the Cavs were making a push and got Kyrie and were doing stuff, like the Vindicator interviewed me and Bruce Solden. Mm-hmm. And they interviewed us because of our connections with the Cavs.
Yep.
And that was a launching pad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the notoriety of being associated with the Cleveland Cavaliers brand as someone that is now available to a middle market business.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
So regardless of whether or not I brought any additional value or additional insight, the perception that, holy cow, this is in our backyard.
Yeah.
He came back here. Mm-hmm. Like that helped in catapulting what was just me at the time to a position of fielding calls instead of making them.
Yep.
And one of those calls, God bless him, was Anthony Cafaro Jr. And we went out to Shakers. I remember sitting there and we were talking about stuff, and he's like, "Hey, I think there's something you could help me with. Are you interested?" And I was like, "I've been your friend forever. Like, I'll help you for whatever." And it was with his mom, and she had this Captain McFinn anti-bullying stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I helped them just with educating the malls on social media and helping getting that up the ground. And she had an app, and that's really where it kind of took off, because I had Fizzle and I had them. And then I had one other company, Steel City Anesthesia, built a website for them. First, like literally the first project ever outside of Fizzle was with them and Bob Simmerlink. And that was what started it. And, you talk about the joys and the challenges that you go through. The joy is that Fizzle is still doing well and is on a whole different AI path. Steel City Anesthesia is still with us, right? 12 years later. Cool. But the challenge was with the Cafaro company there. That was my first lesson in doing the right thing all the time. Not that I didn't know that lesson, but now in business, because when you get in business, money usually trumps everything.
Yes.
And so we have a saying that money never leads, it will follow.
That's right.
And so you always do things based off of what is right, not what you're going to make. And I remember sitting in the office with Phyllis Cafaro and Esther Bouchow, and we're talking about my renewal. And they're both sitting there, and they're like, we want to renew you for another X number, years or months or whatever. And I looked at Phyllis and I said, "Phyllis, I can't do it." And she goes, "What?" And I remember sitting there, and she goes, "Well, what do you want?" And I said, I want you to win. And I've taken you as far as I could take you. I cannot help you anymore. And as your friend, I can't knowingly take your money. Knowing that, would it make me better? Absolutely. I would be financially more in a greater position. But that I would be lying to you and to your family that I was helping you.
Right.
And I can't sleep at night like that. And so that really, I think, was the first step in me understanding, do the right thing. It'll work out. It might be hard, but you learn how to deal with hard better, and you figure it out. And so that was a realization that was hard to do, and walking away knowing that we're SOL. Like telling Mimi that, hey, I just walked away from a deal. I'm like, what? But then she understood why, and okay, we'll figure it out.
Well, I mean, I think the simplest thing to look at from there is that age-old advice is embracing delayed gratification. It's Charlie Munger's biggest principle in investment theory.
My
and
father-in-law always said,
you
pass on a nickel, you pass on a quick nickel for a slow dime. You pass on a quick nickel for a slow dime. That if it's that simple and that easy for you, think what would happen if you just put a little bit more effort into it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And sometimes those decisions are very difficult to make.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, I know
scary, man.
In the early years of our business, we would joke because we'd say that, what does it take to be a client of H.D. Davis and Associates back in whatever it was, 2011, 2012, and we'd say, well, if you breathe into a mirror and you fog it up,
we'll do it.
That'd be good.
There are things I took that
in the midst of the financial crisis. It's like it took a while for us to look back and say, what are the right clients that we should be servicing?
Yeah.
What are the people that we're doing the right service to or doing a disservice to, and being comfortable owning who we are and what we do. But that's not an easy thing to do in the beginning.
No, it's not.
You want to feed your family.
Yeah, and there were things that I wish if I could go back knowing what I know I wouldn't have done. They weren't felonious or bad in any way, but they weren't the right decision. Like I took on a project that knowingly it was not a good fit, but I did it.
Yeah.
And but it also, that's how you learn.
Yep.
Right. I can't say that I regret it. Would I go back and change it? I probably would tell myself, my younger self, that watch out for this. We talked about blind spots today in the CEO forum, and that was a blind spot that you don't know exists.
Yep.
But now that you do, you're better prepared for it when it comes. So it's just it's a beautiful journey. I train with a guy named Joe Moss, and he is an amazing individual. And he always tells me, he's like, you got to enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, you're not going to enjoy the outcome.
Nope.
Because the outcome is that.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's the process where you spend that murky middle or the yucky valley, whatever people are calling it on Insta right now or TikTok or whatever creative name they want to get clickbait with. But like that period between knowing and not knowing is where the beauty actually exists. Yep. But it's uncomfortable.
Exactly.
It's uncomfortable.
Yep.
No one likes being there.
So you have this opportunity now to start 898, and we got into the story of the name of 898 and why you started the marketing business, and you had always had that dedication. And so was there a moment you said, okay, we're going to start the marketing business, and you look around and you say, well, it's got to be called 898? Or was there something else that was even in the contention?
Nope,
it was,
never
you
was. Knew it.
And right out of the gates, it's 898.
That was the easiest part of it.
Yep.
That was the easiest part of it. Yep. I knew that's what it was going to be. And I remember me telling my mom that that's what it was going to be. And she knew why I called it that. Yeah. Like that was her dad. And just knowing that that was going to be what was going to be our hook and like that was going to be our name. Yep. It's like it stood for everything I would hope people would, if they hear my name or I walk into a room or I leave, I would hope that they would remember or speak about me in those three capacities. Yeah. Like that's what I want it to be. Nothing else, nothing less. Like there's a strong faith foundation, there's a service to others, and man, he's going to earn every bit of it. And if he says it, he means it. And so that honesty really is what I had hoped to pay homage to my grandfather and pay homage to the valley and the city that raised me, but also to pass it forward to know that that didn't die off when my grandfather died, right? Like that attitude and that way of life can continue on to generations to come. And
you're teaching generations about integrity.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
By just doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Whether it means something different in the short term or the long term, you said you were going to do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And just ingraining that in the culture of that business.
Yeah. It's when my team, when we're together and I say something to our team, I always tell them, I'm telling you this because I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I know it's going to happen. When we landed the USFL, that was like a 5 or 6 months courtship that we were working on.
Yep.
And I wanted to tell people so badly in the team. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't, because if it didn't come through, that's on me.
That's right. Yep.
Like, I got their hopes up.
Mm-hmm.
That's like going to see Santa and then realizing the present's not underneath the tree.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hard conversation.
Yep.
And so our team knows that if I'm going to tell them something, I'll make it happen.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out.
And that's so. Now we've gone 2014-ish until now with 898.
So now, yeah, it'll be 12 years in January.
And I mean, some of the recent
12 years, 12th pod that we're on. Yeah,
that's right.
I like
it makes sense.
It makes
How about
sense,
that?
man. How about that?
You were Inc.'s 5,000 fastest growing companies.
Yeah.
Fastest growing last year. I think it was Adweek's fastest growing agency.
This year,
US,
last 2024. Yeah.
Number one in the state of
number
Ohio.
one in the state of Ohio. Number 3 in the Midwest, and I think like 27th in the country.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Crane's best places to work. And
that's what I
cultural
love.
Recognition.
That's I mean, right? Like that. Yep. Can you have a better like stamp of approval,
right,
than Crane's business in a state of Ohio saying this is where you want to work.
Yep. Across all industries,
across all
businesses,
right? Like you were H.D. Davis was on it. Yep. Our buddy Tim Conti, who's from Mooney grad, from On Partners, was on it. Like there are, to be on that list is like, okay, we know we're doing something right. It's kind of like being a parent, right? No one ever tells you that you're a good parent.
Yep.
Everybody always tells you your kid's eating too much junk food. They're on their phone too much. They talk back in class. Like, why are you letting them stay up so late? Like, no one ever comes up and say, hey, attaboy.
Yeah.
You're doing okay.
Right. Yeah.
Your kid's all right.
Those are those moments.
They stopped eating glue. You're okay, right? But
kids stop eating glue.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But you get a little bit of validation in a world that normally is trying to either one up you, especially with social media, or they're trying to find chinks in your armor, right?
Well,
a little kink in your armor.
I know some of that is brought on by yourself as well. I feel that you and I have similar personalities in a sense where I think it was Matthew McConaughey that says, like, I'm competing with who I was yesterday.
Oh, 100%.
Right? So,
I love it. I love that line of his. Yeah.
You're one of those people that's just always looking at what you're doing and saying, yeah, we're doing this well, but we could be doing this better.
Yep.
And yeah, we're doing this, but we could be doing this better. So it is nice to be able to zoom out because we're our own worst critics.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and you don't build a business of that magnitude and the cultural significance of a business without that constant desire to just get better every day.
Yeah. You know, that bar, when you achieve that bar that you set, you think it wasn't set high enough.
Right.
And then when you come up short, then you're blaming yourself for not doing enough.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. There's never that moment where you're like,
I did well.
Shit, I did well. Okay. I like that. But that's also a really good position to be in, I think, from understanding that, again, success is only there after a successful act.
Right.
Like you can't rest on what you did 2 years ago. Right. Like I would love, like I look at how far we've come, and while I'm grateful, I'm more excited about what the future is going to hold and where we're going, because now we have a team in place of people who share that same philosophy and are going to work every single day to make sure that our partners are successful, because that defines success for them. And out of all of those accolades that you mentioned, the ones that matter most are the ones that our partners earn, whether it's, Heinz or Greenwood or whomever, right? Like those entities allow us to grow. We don't grow unless they're growing.
Well, and it gives your people purpose for what they're doing every day.
Yeah.
I mean, that was always what fueled me at the end of the day was there were a lot of long hours in the early years of the business. There's still a lot of long hours in the current years of the business. But when you work with a client and you help them achieve something, when you change their zip code, when you are some part of that process of their own definition of relative success, and you're able to contribute to that, there is no better feeling as a human than and that applies to marketing. Your wife's industry and the medical community a lot more serious is that if you're helping people achieve something and you're a part of that story, like that just feels good.
That's why the community is such a big role in our company. Like are actively involved in our community everywhere we are. it's my grandfather always told me that you always give back more than you take.
Yep.
Like you're going to be given things in this world, but you have to put forth the effort to put back a little bit more because someone else is going to need it, and you've got to repay what you took.
That's right.
So I truly, really believe that our team really enjoys the communal aspect of what 898 Marketing brings to the Mahoning Valley, from sponsorships or attending events or volunteering or painting places, right? It's just like that idea of getting your hands involved in something and building it. There's no replacement for it.
And there's very few communities, from my perspective, in the United States that you can go to and move the needle.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that I've always been drawn to here. I've loved about it here. I'm so dedicated to staying here and being a part of this community for the rest of my life, is that through those efforts, you're able to see improvement in the community that you live in. And not many people can say that.
Yeah.
It's hard to move the needle in New York City.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't imagine trying to move the needle even in a town like Chicago.
Yeah.
Even in Cleveland,
Yep.
it's remarkably difficult to move the needle. But here you can see the direct impact of the work that you're doing in the community that you're doing.
Yes,
in.
you can.
You can see the lives that are being touched by organizations like United Way and the Second Harvest Food Bank and all the great things that we have in this community. So, I mean, I know that that's something that we've always shared in both of our businesses. It's just being able to give back and seeing the direct result of that.
Yep.
Okay, so my question to you is, I've always loved marketing. I've always loved advertising, marketing, the idea of being able to influence people's decision-making process. And I believe that we lived through the greatest era of marketing during the TV commercials and the Super Bowls and the .com bubble era. I mean, there were some absolute banger commercials.
I mean, from that 4-decade period of 80s, 90s, 2000s, and teens is arguably probably the most amazingly technologically fast-forward moving times of history. But from a advertising and marketing perspective, to see the evolution from 80s to the end of the 20-teens is insane.
From paper advertising only to now intelligent geographic tags and
crazy.
Fencing and algorithms and all this other stuff. So over that period of time, what do you feel was the most influential piece of marketing effort or marketing campaign that you recall during that period? I mean, my sister-in-law and I still to this day, like when she calls me, it's
oh my gosh, I just used that on a text thread. I literally just used that on a text thread today. Oh my gosh, that's so funny you bring that up.
Was there anything that you went through during that period of time that you saw was like, holy cow, this changed the game?
Man, I would probably have to say that it was probably Jordan.
Yeah.
I would probably say that the Be Like Mike commercial with Gatorade and the shoes, those two elements, Nike with It's Gotta Be the Shoes and Gatorade would Be Like Mike. You know, now granted those were late 80s, early 90s probably. If we take technology out of it and we just look at the overall impact that it had, like the idea that drinking something could make me better.
Right. It was the original influencer marketing.
It was.
It was, I want to be like Mike.
Yes.
I want to wear the shoes. I want to drink the Gatorade. I want to eat the Wheaties.
It clearly was something, in my opinion, that was so simple, but so well defined and well received across any gender, any nationality, any age, anything. Because at the time, who didn't want to be like Michael Jordan? Even if you didn't play sports. Right? He was the highest paid athlete.
Who doesn't want to be the king?
Who doesn't want to be the king? Who doesn't want to be on top?
Right.
So that really stuck with me. I mean, I would probably say those two campaigns really redefined influencer marketing and targeting of individuals.
Yeah.
But I think right now is probably the most influential time period of marketing ever.
Oh yeah,
It's ever. Because we all have peers. We all take into account what people are saying, and when you're on TikTok or when you're on Insta, and you're seeing all of these influencers tell you what you should be doing, like, oh, I trust that person.
Yeah, right.
But I am a cautiously optimistic social media person. I always say that there was a movie out called The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Are you familiar with it?
I'm not.
No.
All right. Jimmy Stewart, black and white movie.
Yep.
Cliff notes of the movie is that Jimmy Stewart is as down on his luck guy as the western part of America is starting to be explored and inhabited.
Yep.
And so he comes across these marauders that have been pillaging these caravans coming across, and they all perish. And he says he killed them all. And it turned his world upside down. Like, he became a politician. He married into this rich, wealthy family. He married this beautiful woman. And now he's sitting on the precipice of being the vice president of the United States. And he brings these reporters in this log cabin with this sawdust floor, and he tells them the real story of what happened. And the reporter is writing all this down. He goes, 2 terms governor, or 2 terms in the Senate, governor, Secretary of State, and now you're on the precipice of being the Vice President of the United States. And he takes the paper that he wrote it on, rips it up, and throws it into the stove. And he goes, you're not going to print the story? And he goes, this is the West, sir. When the legend becomes fact, you print the legend. That's social media in a nutshell. When the legend becomes fact, you print the legend.
Yep.
When the story is so good that when the truth comes out, we're still going to believe what the make-believe is.
Yep.
And that's where I think the slippery slope is that we're walking on the social media front. And what is probably the most challenging today is getting your head around what's real and what isn't.
Right.
I think it's a combination of that. I think it's a combination of video games. I think it's a combination of entertainment. Our perception of reality has been warped. And that's a hard part for marketing to figure out. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, what is real and what is not, and what is impactful for a particular reason, and what is just selling because.
I think we're starting to see things change a little bit to the point where my hope, at least, and maybe this is my, optimism showing my glass half full nature, is that our kids are going to know how to control their own algorithm. They're going to get to the point where they're going to say, I know that if I feed myself bad stuff, I'm going to get myself more bad stuff. Mm-hmm. And if I feed myself the good stuff, I'm going to get more good stuff. Yeah. So, this can be used as a superpower just as much as it can be used to devastate a community. Yep. So that's my cross my fingers and hope kind of moment.
Oh, no, you're right.
Crossroads of social
You're 100% right. Yeah. No, it is, right? It's Star Wars. There's the light side and the dark side,
that's
right?
That's right. Yeah.
It's like Spaceballs. There's 2 sides to every Schwartz, right? But it's just very interesting to see how that's going to play out.
Yep.
But from a marketing angle, give me all the data.
Yep.
Give me every single piece of data that we could use and we can analyze and we can splice and split and morph into what we need.
Just remember, Jeff, as Spider-Man's uncle said, with great power
there comes great responsibility. Oh, trust me. Trust me. But
so as we kind of button this thing up here, I know that you guys have gone through some crazy growth, and the Canfield office is expanding.
Yeah.
And you've got a new presence in the Cleveland region. Yeah. What's the best way for people to stay in contact with what's going on with 898, with Jeff?
We're not hard to find. Number's 898marketing.com. You can find us on every social channel. You can find me, Jeffrey Ryznar. It's very simple. Except saying my name apparently is very difficult for people, but that's all right. It was funny. We were at an event on Friday, and it was a Night at the Races event, and we bought 5 horses,
Yep.
so they had to say our name 5 times.
Yep.
They said my last name 5 different ways.
That's impressive.
I was like, you actually have to try to do that.
Yeah,
And
right.
remember, I said
Yeah.
that one. Now we got to try this one. It's like its own little like Wordle that you're going through. But yeah, I would say other than those channels, we're not hard to find in the community.
Yes, that's right.
And so that's where I encourage anybody here. If you see a team member of ours that has a shirt on, if you see someone that's part of our team that's at a volunteer event, that's out in the community, that's doing something, come talk to us.
Yep.
Like that's the beauty behind of where we are and what we do, is that we actually embrace that opportunity to meet and to talk with people, even if it's opposing views or different ways of doing things.
Yep.
I truly think the only way that we advance forward is by talking and by learning.
Yep.
And sometimes that's uncomfortable because there are differing views. But the minute communication breaks down, that's when the real problems happen.
That's right.
And so other than visiting our website or following us on social media, we are not hard to find at events and outings. And if you see us, come say hi and introduce yourself, and hopefully we can have a good conversation.
And if you find your way to the website, get yourself signed up for the newsletter. I love the newsletter that you guys put out. It's always been good.
I love the way our team does it, because it's not just pumping our chest.
That's right. Yep.
It's actual information, because whenever we
It's
meet
helpful
with
stuff.
whenever we meet with a partner, a potential partner that we end up not moving forward with, we always tell them why, but here's someone who could help you.
Yep.
Here's another agency that we would recommend. Here's a friend of ours we know. Here's this, because we truly believe that by interacting with us, our vision or our mission statement is that we are called to serve.
Yep.
And so we believe that every interaction leads to you being better after meeting us. Doesn't mean that we're going to move forward together, but you could have learned something. So our newsletters are very informative. They're very informational. They're very helpful. They're not meant to brag about us.
Yeah.
They're meant to give you information so you can brag about you, of how you've managed to grow on your own.
They're great. Well, I think
So thank you.
I mean, it goes without saying, I didn't know Grandpa, but I think Grandpa would be quite proud.
Dude,
Congratulations.
I appreciate it. I hope, I pray every day that Stephen P. Suhar and Matthew Ryznar are staring down at me, and I'm doing something right. But when I look at Mimi and I look at Marin and Kira, I know that I am, because that's my calling.
Yep.
To be called a father and to be called a husband are the two greatest things I'll ever be called.
That's right. And you're setting an amazing example for others that are watching.
Likewise,
watching.
Tim. Likewise, dude.
Thank you. Thanks for
Likewise.
being here. Thanks for
thanks for having me. This is fun, man.
Community.
This is fun. Liam, thanks for opening up the place, man.
All right, brother.
This is good.
Thank you so much for listening. This podcast wouldn't be possible without Stonefruit Studios and Bentley Studios. If you'd like to support the podcast, the most impactful thing you can do is subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and leave a review and/or comment. If you found this episode particularly helpful, we also encourage you to share it with a friend or on social media. Until next time, keep learning, growing, and failing forward.